Right here in Genesis 1:27, it does say that God created man in his own image. It's a bold statement. You're calling the top shots and experiencing the natural world through 5 senses. This is not a trite piece of business. Every second you are taking hold and driving the whole machine by the reins. It's everything from moving the arms to where you're going to walk to your favorite flavor of ice cream. How does something as material as the matter of the mind ever give rise to something as intangible as an experience, an idea, or the live stream continuum of thought, which you call you, is not little bitty. In fact, the neurosciences, which, if you were intellectually honest about it, actually began in ancient Egypt and continue to this day. The tools and toys have gotten better. As Plato or Aristotle or philosophers all throughout the ages of time, even up till this very moment that you watch this video, would have asked, how does the non-physical control the physical? But the paradox is real. The mind, body, duality, the split, the place where you have the blurring of the lines between what they'll call the dimension of consciousness and the material world. In fact, it's not just a blurring fuzziness of the lines. That's the exact point where physical and spiritual twist. Inside this construct, there are billions and billions and billions of neurons that are all acting with little synapses firing this way and that. It's translating. It's a receiver. Nobel Prize winner neurophysiologist Sir John Eccles stated, and I quote, "The human brain is a machine that a ghost can operate, so that you can have control of this entire being, passing down the spinal cord into the fingertips and every part of your biological body." What are we really? What is the soul? But this is more than just a computer sitting on top of a biological machine. Just like you'll hear researchers ask, what is the source for the digital coding that makes up the software, the DNA of human life? This question here is a granddaddy beyond human imagination, larger in scope than that. In fact, the very type of questions that have pushed many of the greatest minds throughout all time to the brinks of their research. Who are we? Where do we come from? What happens next? It was Albert Einstein who said, and I quote, "In consideration of the cosmos, the order of the universe, which I, with my limited human mind, am able to perceive, yet there are those who say there is no God. What makes me really angry is when they quote me in support of such views." That was Albert Einstein. It's very rare that you would ever find any quote where Einstein would say he was angry about anything. Yet so often I hear men quote Einstein and say that there is no God in the same sentence. In fact, this is a lot larger in scope than that. Let me put this in perspective for you. Right now, while you're watching this video, we barely understand even the simplest functionings of the smallest parts of this place. We grapple with the DNA strands. This right here is a whole lot larger in scope than any of that, just within the neurosciences as well as the life sciences sitting right on top. Life sciences, neurosciences, and that human mind and consciousness all meet. There is no point in just those two sciences. Almost like a gateway, huh? We haven't even made it to the quantum physics and the fabric of this place yet. You've probably heard it said that the eyes are the windows to the soul, a statement whose origin is actually derived from Matthew 6:22. But the truth is, the illusion is a lot deeper in scope than that. It's not actually the eyes that see anything at all. The most advanced camera in the world, literally plugged in and tuned to the frequency of the material world. They're collecting the waves of light, which at their base are little quantified digital units, packets of light that enter through the eye. Solidness is an illusion. And when you're looking at something, you're actually seeing every color it's not. You're seeing the color that it rejects. But it's not just about the color of something. If you were to really look at reality the way that it is, it's comprised of zipping little digits, quantized units, 99.9% empty space. Was Nobel Prize winner Niels Bohr, who, mind you, gave us an actual model of the atom, who stated, and I quote, "Those who are not shocked by quantum mechanics have not yet understood it, the fabric of this place, the little data points making up the material world." But it's sufficient at this point to simply understand that what you're looking at is data coming in through the eye, going down the optic nerve, translating into images, and then hits your consciousness, the intangible part of you, plugged in right now, real time, live stream all the time, which is calling the shots on the whole show. This very much implies that the real you is much more than the software, the hardware, or the biological machine. It does seem like there's a little bit more going on here than what meets the eye. Let me ask you this. If your consciousness is separate from your physical body, and your physical body dies, then that would have to mean that you still exist, right? Let that one sink in a minute. Now, in the Greek text of Romans 12:2, it says something fascinating. It says, "Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Now, when I think about transformed, I sort of think about a caterpillar in this cocoon state. Now, mind you, when the caterpillar goes into that cocoon, it becomes literally a black goo. It loses all body form inside that cocoon, completely changes. How could the caterpillar ever imagine becoming what it was literally born to become? Sometimes I'll hear physicists say that the universe is really large. And my first thought is, compared to what? And we don't know how it does it. How could a body form literally change into something else? Something that beautiful. But yet, it does it. As if it's built right in to the... But before we can go larger in scope and look at the full scale of what we're dealing with, I'd like to take a peek at evolution, which states that all of this that we've just discussed came out of sheer randomness. This is important because these are two entirely different paths, with one The evolution, we just keep getting lucky. Lotto win after lotto win. But bottom line, random accidents keep mysteriously hitting lotto wins. And it's all internalized. What you see is what you get. And science and the disconnect, possibly, between the two of them. Or it's larger in scope, and precision information has a source. The definition of science actually is the study of the material and physical world and universe based on observation, experimentation, and investigation. So let's investigate it. So, right from the beginning of this thing, we're going to give evolution some really, really big head starts, beginning with the universe itself. At first glance, the universe can sort of look like maybe it's a random place, but in fact, we have known for a long time now that the universe is very far from random. For the purpose of this, it is true that evolution also violates biogenesis, which states, of course, that life only comes from other life. Evolutionist Sir Fred Hoyle stated, and I quote, that believing that the first cell arrived by chance and accident is like believing that a tornado could sweep through a junkyard and create a Boeing 747. It's not just... It does sort of seem like an awful lot of very mysterious accidents. Once again, from inorganic material, I need trillions of lines of precision three-dimensional software to mysteriously appear, to somehow just strangely become. Cells are not just factories, they are literal, living, breathing cities. Look at that thing go. Whirlwinds more coding to make lions, alligators, and the most vicious things on the planet Earth. Rivers more code. From more inorganic material to make even the cutest of things on this planet, as well as every single living, breathing creature on the face of the planet Earth. It's a lot of lightning bolts. In the construct of this place, the matrix of the material world, this thing that we call reality, the entirety of little particles which make up the universe, everything here is a causality, a cause and an effect. This becomes particularly important in science when you can see the effect of something, but you cannot see the larger scale of what caused it. You know, it's also true that a created thing can never understand the scope of what created it. At the inception of the book of Genesis, it starts with a fascinating statement that says, "In the beginning, the God of gods, Yahweh, created everything." Now, the use of the word God in the Hebrew, in that sentence, Yahweh, means something a lot larger in scope than Zeus or a man in the clouds with a lightning bolt. It's actually stating in the text that our dad is larger and more unimaginable in scope. Amalgamation of 66 ancient documents that we call the Holy Bible is redundant to express one single message over and over and over and over again, that the scope of what's going on here is larger than the planets or the stars or the molecular fabric of the skin or even the quantum particles that make up the matrix of the whole place. That what the Creator of the heavens and the earth is interested in has nothing to do with the software, the hardware, or the biological bag of parts that we call a human body, or the roller coaster ride of minutes that we define as a human life. But the scope, the precious treasure, the gem amongst the darkness that he is seeking out and looking for. He's interested in the real deal, the point that's calling all the shots for the whole puppet show of precision parts. He's interested in the real you. But according to those ancient pages, it doesn't matter whether you feel like you got served up 1 coin at the start of this life or 10, where you came from or what place on the planet Earth you may have been born. In truth, the particles that make up the human construct are no different than those that make up the bunny rabbit, the turtle, or the ground beneath your feet. But the scope of the differences in the human conscious condition are larger than the light year separator between the intellectual capacities between us and any other living, breathing creature on the face of the planet Earth. But according to those pages, we are born above things that even these primitive eyes that see like cameras are blind to. What I'm saying is this: appearances can be deceiving. The world you see with your eyes, this place couched in a much larger spiritual, dimensional reality. The masquerade of particles pretending to be the illusion of the material world. You know, it is true that whether it be a king or a father, you generally see what someone will do with little before you give them much. But greater still, according to those pages, the real you, behind the machine, infancy stage, you were born to be heir to an empire. The beautiful test, that's precisely what those pages are saying.